is running away with low life. You ensnare it, you end up killing it rather than the fact that it heals up and goes away. Archmage is using Staff of Teleportation, or better yet, Mass Teleportation ultimate ability. Ensnare is also a channel canceller. You can stop Starfall, Tranquility, Mass Teleport with this. You can stop Staff of Teleportation. There are so many more things you can do with Ensnare. Now I need to say one more thing about Raider Ensnare. Maybe we can splice it back to the Raider part. Raider Ensnare was justifiably nerfed. It used to be 12-second duration and 12-second cooldown, but they nerfed it to 10-second duration and 16-second cooldown. A change that I personally find pretty sad because they're my favorite unit in the game, but it is actually justifiable, and even now Ensnare is still very powerful with the nerfs from a couple of years ago. Raider is the ultimate aid for any high-level player and is still a really good tool for low-level players as well. You can just kill buildings and run, kill buildings and run, and get money from pillage. Best unit in the game, potentially. And let's talk about pillage. A lot of people ask me, how does pillage work exactly? How much does a pillage peon get, a raider and a grunt? And do you steal it from the enemy's gold reserves? Well, not directly. The enemy made a building and it had a cost. You kill the building and you get money for it. So you're indirectly stealing the money he originally invested. And here's how it works. You get exactly half of the enemy's gold and lumber investment from a building that you fully kill with pillage. So if you kill the enemy altar, which is 180 and 50, you get 90 gold and 25 lumber, but only if all hits are from pillage. And so you're getting half of those resources, and anytime you hit the building, you do a percentage of damage, and that percentage is multiplied with half of the total cost. So if you do 10% of damage, then you get 8 gold. And that's how that works. Next up, Kodo Beast from the Bestiary. Kodo Beast is a 4 population unit that has a lot of purposes. He's got 1000 health, 1 armor. He has an unarmored status, which means he takes bonus damage from piercing. So he gets focused down pretty well by berserkers or archers or fiends. He has a drums upgrade, aura, which on the baseline, as he comes out of the bestiary, he gives 10% bonus physical damage to all units, ground and flying, and heroes. But not to serpent wards. But to normal summonables, yes, feral spirits. So 10% bonus damage to all, which is the equivalent of an attack upgrade. So having 1 Kodo in your army, in any army that's greater size than 40 population on your total population sheet, can be very, very useful. He also has a second ability, Devour. Devour basically makes a Kodo eat a unit entirely. This works on almost every unit in the game, except creeps of level 6 or higher. It doesn't work on Spirit Walkers because of resistance skin. It doesn't work on air units, even if you ensnared them to bring them down to the ground, which is another thing I didn't talk about for ensnare. You can bring air units to the ground to attack them with melee only. So Kodo cannot eat resistant units, such as Walker and Mountain Giant with upgrade, but they can eat unupgraded Mountain Giants. They can eat magic immune units, like Spellbreaker, and Ensnare works on those too, by the way. They can eat magic unit like Dryad. They can eat small summonables like Water Elemental, Feral Spirits, Skeletons, but they can't eat the big ones like Doomguard and Infernal. This question actually came up on my stream. Can Kodo Beasts eat a Great Hall? The answer is no. I have 2 other questions. Can Kodo Beast eat the country of Poland? The answer is no. This came up a lot. And can Kodo Beasts eat other Kodo Beasts? This answer is also no. And I think I covered most of the other important case scenarios, but if you have any other questions about what Kodo Beast can eat, make sure to ask me in the YouTube comment section, and I'll try to answer it, maybe even test it out to the best of my abilities and let you know. When a Kodo Beast eats a unit, it starts slowly DPSing that unit inside his belly. The enemy has vision of your Kodo Beast that is currently devouring one of their units. But strangely enough, they cannot know which unit is inside the Kodo. So they need to remember. Luckily, I have very good memory and I always remember everything in games, including in Elden Ring, and especially in Warcraft 3. But let's say if you don't know if you lost a bear or a dryad, you can see that there's something of mine in your Kodo Beast, but you don't know what it is. And additionally, there is a damage per second component to the way that Kodo Beasts devour a unit inside their belly. And eventually, when the unit dies, that's when there is a digestive sound. The Kodo Beast finishes eating. That's when you get experience for the kill. That's also when the opponent loses the population attribution that unit has. And that's when they lose the vision of that Kodo Beast as well. So that's a pretty interesting amalgamation of different features to how Devour works. If they kill the Kodo before the unit is fully digested, it will come out hurt, scared, probably a little traumatized, probably a little smelly, but alive and can then be saved. If you devour a creep that has an item and then you lose the Kodo before the creep is fully digested, the item is still there, the creep is still there, and the person that kills the creep will still get the experience in gold. There used to be a funny thing you could do with the invincible watch rewards that I talked about in my map tier list video that I just uploaded. You could Kodo Beast devour the Ogre Mage, bring your Kodo elsewhere on the map, kill your own Kodo Beast, and then plant the watch reward down as you kill the Ogre Mage there, to places that the Ogre Mage would normally never be able to go. So you could make your Kodo Beast die in the enemy base and get an invincible permanent reveal of their base on a map like Turtle Rock or Melting Valley before in the tournament map pool, which is pretty funny. Kodo is a staple unit at the very minimum. He's not weak, he's not useless, he's staple. Can you moss Kodos only and win the game? Usually tier S, except for the worker, might only make this unit and win. That's true for Dryads, that's true for Spellbreakers, it's true for Druids of the Claw, you can make only those and win. It's not true for Kodo Beasts, so they're not tier S. It could be an A or a B. Kodo is a great support unit, but does not stand well by himself. He also falls off in defensive scaling because he does not receive either armor or attack upgrades. He has a 16 to 20 piercing attack by himself, which is another element I didn't talk about, which means he's actually not a bad attacker against something like a Dragonhawk Rider. Having one or two Kodos together with the Headhunters and Raiders is a pretty okay army to have against a small flock of Dragonhawk Riders and even Griffin Riders. They're tanky, and unarmored does not take bonus damage from magic damage of the Griffins. So they're not bad against something like a Griffin Dragonhawk army, Rider army. But it can't be more than like 8 units in the air. Then it becomes too much and you'll need other answers like lots of Berserkers or Bat Riders. I'm gonna call them tier A. I cannot make a case for them to be tier B. They have so many applications. They're pretty much in every matchup. They're always good. They buff your heroes, just like Ensnare buffs your heroes via rooting enemy heroes or units. Kodos buff in pretty much every other way. They're a lightning rod of focus fire. They draw attention, which frees up attention from other units. At 255 gold and 4 population and a relatively slow movement speed, they are not the most agile, but it gets better if you have TC with Endurance Aura. Kodos are really solid, and you're never wrong to make 1 or 2 per game. Next up, Wind Riders. Wind Riders suck. I don't know how to say it. When you comprise their stats, their cost of 265 gold, the fact that they're 4 pop and give 85 experience, they're low 40 damage of piercing damage, they're low 50, 575 health. Wind Riders are a bag of bones, a fragile, fast-moving, high-damage unit that is supposed to be able to bring death from above, but really he is a delivery, an Amazon delivery of experience tome to your opponent. They die very easily. They get ensnared, they get bat ridered, they get fiend webbed, they get focus fired, they get looked at for like 1 second. The weather is a bit tumultuous. They die, right? Wind Riders are not good. You never see them in Orc Mirror. If you make them against Night Elf, you lose. If you make them against Human, you lose because of rifles, water elementals, and flying machines and Dragonhawks. But you sometimes see them against Undead. Wind Riders are, in my heart, a tier D unit. but occasionally you can use them against undead. I think they're really very awful. It's either C or D. Usually making Wind Riders just loses you the game. It's a weak unit. But because you can make them at tier 2, there is a risk that if they were stronger, that you could quickly